Hi there. Today's video is slightly different as it's more of a behind the scenes of how I set up a level within the game. So as you can see here, we're in the city level and I've just gone through and finished hooking up all of the different climbable elements onto all the different buildings. So this is what the bars across each building is denoting, and this is what the player will be able to climb up and hang on to. Of course, in the finished game, the red bars won't be there and they will be invisible. But now that's done, the next thing on my to-do list is to place all of the targets within this level. And these are the things that the player is going to be shooting for as they play the game. Now, one option would be for me to drag and drop the targets in and move them around and place them manually, but that would take quite a long time. And as you can see, this level is pretty big, so it would take even longer. So what I've got is a number of scripts which help me try and speed up this process. What it allows me to do is add in different types of target by simply pointing my mouse into the world. And then what I'm doing is I'm raycasting from the point of the camera until I hit something. And then once I've hit something, that's where the object is placed. So I'm going to go through now, and I might speed this bit up a little bit later, and I will go and start placing some targets. We do have a number of different targets that I can select from. But for this level, I'm thinking it will be quite early on in the game, and I want to try and save some of the more special targets for later. So I think for this one, we'll have the target type that I've just placed down here, and I might also add some air targets as well. So let's go ahead and start placing some more down. And what I'm thinking about while I'm doing this is trying to get the player to explore the level a little more. As I mentioned, I've gone to what has been quite a great effort to have all the buildings climbable. And I really want the player to explore this city and not just be stuck at ground level all the time. So what I'm going to try and do is place targets on top of these buildings, which ultimately, once the players hit the ball up here and hopefully hit the target, the ball's going to stay on here and the player's going to need to get to it. So hopefully then they can utilize all this climbing mechanics to get up to the ball, and then from here, maybe let's try to hit a target that's down on the floor. It will be a little bit of a balancing act between adding enough targets in that there's always one that the player can access, but equally at the same time, you don't want ones that are always going to be really close and make the game too easy. There is a slight learning curve within the game, and if you want to try and get the highest score possible for each shot, the best way to do that is to hit your shot over a further distance and aim for a target that's further away. But of course, if you take into account the wind factor, and there's also some variance that we capture when you complete the swing, which could result in the ball not directly following, let's say, the straightest path. Aiming for a target further away carries with it a greater risk factor. Thankfully, while I place some of these targets down right now, they can be tweaked at a later date, and this is not completely set in stone. So let's try and add one. Yeah, let's add one up here. This actually might be pretty tricky to get to from the ground. You might have to hit onto a couple of other buildings first, but that could be quite interesting. So here's a good thing to point out. Obviously now we've raycast into the world, but unfortunately the thing we've hit is not actually the roof. So let's go ahead and we'll just stop adding here. Let's see if we can just grab this target and we will manually just move this one up a little bit. There we go. So it's back on top of the roof and obviously visible. And then let's go back to adding some more. I'm keen to put targets in every corner of the map as well to make the player explore fully. Oh, so what's interesting here, as you can see, when I was over this way and I was pointing at the ground, but weirdly, this target has ended up floating in midair. What this has actually hit is the out of bounds. Because obviously within the game, I don't want the player to be able to fall into the water. I don't want the ball to be able to go into the water. So around this level is an invisible wall that if the ball goes through, the game will capture that and then allows the player to reset the ball anywhere from the point that it's gone over into the hazard from the point that they hit it. And that's what would happen if you were playing golf in real life. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's just quickly delete that one. And then now let's try and add one correctly on the floor down here. And having said that, I've just made the exact same mistake again. So let's quickly get rid of that. My hope is that adding targets at these intersections will naturally force the player to explore more of the roads, more of the city. So I'm going to carry on with that plan. And let's quickly just add some at each one. The idea behind this as well is that hopefully you should always then have access to at least one target, no matter where you are. And while some of the characters, the power that they have means that the ball won't go as far as others, hopefully, for example, with this section here, if you could only hit it, if you were over here at the start, and you could only hit it halfway, hopefully, because it's a flat ground, the ball would roll out a little bit and still give you a chance to hit something. Maybe quite a cool look would be to go all the way to the top. And then let's see where these targets are placed. So I can see that perhaps we could do with something over here would be nice. In fact, yeah, let's add one. Let's add one just here. And then the other side. I'm also conscious of trying to avoid these double yellow lines that you can see going around the streets, because these are the paths that the cars and traffic will follow in the game. And we have these cars set up over here. At the moment, in the editor mode, they'll just start at the same place and then get assigned when the game runs. So I think that covers these basic target types. Let's add in some air targets. And these are things that are going to be hovering in the air and the player will have to hit the ball through them. And I think what will make these really useful in this level is I can place them as high as I'd like and make it so perhaps if we want the player to climb to the top of this building, and maybe they can hit a shot off the top, let's go ahead and place an air target round about here. What will happen is the target will get placed wherever the camera is right now. So I believe it was R that I needed to press to place. There we go. Yeah. So you can see, yeah, that's a 500 point target, but it is quite small. So let's go around and we'll add a few more of these. we can be a little bit trigger happy, I think, with these targets. Might be quite cool as well to have some all along the same street. I think that was quite nice. Well, let's add one over the park. And perhaps in between buildings as well could be quite good. Maybe in between these two. Oh, and also let's add one maybe quite close to an out of bounds, make it quite tricky. Yeah, maybe say like here. Because I've also added into the game the ability to curve the ball as well. So this could be quite a good example of where you'd want to use that if you were, say, down here hitting your shot. You're going to aim at that target, but you're going to want to curve it to the right so the ball doesn't land in the water and out of bounds. So I think I will carry on after this and add a few more targets into the level, but hopefully that gives you guys a nice flavour of how these levels come to life. So thank you for watching.